Hey guys, Matthew here, and welcome to episode number 11 of the Abusing Harvest series. Today, I'll be showing you guys how to make double damage plus 2 wands, which are basically the best potential wands you can get for a minion build for the most part, for somewhat cheap. These wands sell for about 25 to 30x mark. It kind of depends on what the market looks like, and I'll be showing you guys exactly how to make them because it's not very difficult. So the first thing you want to do is grab a base. So you can go ahead and buy one of these bases with the perfect minion damage roll, and 3 white sockets and all that good stuff, blue base for about 4 exalts. So once you've got yourself a base, such as I have here, you're going to want to dupe the base. So what you do is you use a Chrysic Kimmerl. Once you do that, you'll be able to get an imprint. The imprint is a save state of your item, meaning no matter what I do to this item, so long as I don't corrupt it, I can always take it back to its saved state. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to regal it. Now the regal doesn't matter what I hit because the idea is just to make the wand into a rare one. Now I'm going to split it using a Phenomenal Plagued Arachnid, which gives me a 50% chance of actually succeeding versus a 50% chance of failing. In this case, we actually succeeded. So my filter doesn't show it, which is a little bit yikes. But you'll see that I basically got my wand, and if I was to try to imprint this, it won't let me. Why? Because the one that was left on the altar is the initial item. This is a brand new item. So because I imprinted this item when it looked like this, I can just imprint it back, and now I have 2 of them. Now the next step we're going to do, once we've got ourselves a second base, which we can always use later, is work on this base. So because this is a fractured mod, as you can see here, we aren't guaranteed to get it. So what we're going to want to do is basically imprint our item again, so that when we go ahead and
don't disappoint them.
when we go ahead and fracture it, no matter what happens, we won't basically be left with a unusable wand. So the first thing we're going to do here after imprinting it is we are going to augment it. This is going to guarantee a suffix. Now it doesn't matter what the suffix is, it really doesn't. And then we're going to regal. Now we can regal either a prefix or a suffix. Again, this doesn't matter because the next step is going to be to get rid of all the suffixes into prefixes using the Ferric Wolf Alpha. By doing so, we are going to get to the point where our wand has 3 prefixes and no suffixes. So let's go ahead and do that. So we are going to use it twice because we have 2 suffixes. Unfortunately, we regaled a suffix. And now we've got ourselves 3 prefixes. Now these prefixes actually don't matter because we are going to be getting rid of them anyways. Once we are done with basically the process of fracturing. So now that I have 3 prefixes, I can actually jump onto the TFT Discord and try to buy myself a fracture prefix. Now I could also just go ahead and use one of my own if I had one laying around, but for now, let's go ahead and look for a fracture prefix modifier, which should be about an exalt. So we are looking for not random, we're looking for fracture prefix. Now I don't know if there's any of these actually available at the moment, but they do go for about an exalt. Let's see if we can find one. I wish we could have, but I guess for this video, you guys will just have to you'll just have to imagine that there's a fracture prefix, which is the temple mod, because there doesn't seem to be any for sale. So once we've gone through the process, basically we're going to fracture a random prefix, and there's a 1 in 3 chance to get the minion damage mod. If we fail to fracture the prefix, we're simply going to imprint our wand back, and we can start over by imprinting it again, Ferric Wolfing it once or twice to get 3 prefixes, then we can fracture it again if we fail, again until we get the minion damage mod here to be fractured. Now once we do this, the next step is basically going to be fossil spamming. So the best combination of fossil to use here is corroded, jagged, metallic, and shuddering in a 4-socket resonator. This will basically guarantee almost to get one of these 2 one of these 2 either spell or all minion skill gems. As you can see, every 3 tries you'll see one of them. We aren't really interested in one of them though. We actually want both. And that is going to appear every 12 tries. Now this might look like a lot, but when you consider the price of the fossils being extremely cheap and the price of the resonators being not that bad, um, then we're pretty much already done, and we can go ahead and multi-mod the rest. Now, to get to the point where we can multi-mod, if possible, we could use a Lee mechanic, which would be much cheaper than spending the 2 exalts. But if the Lee mechanic isn't a possibility, meaning we have things that we cannot remove with the Lee mechanic, what we'll be able to do is just prefixes cannot be changed, which is a 2 exalt craft from the bench. As you can see here, prefixes cannot be changed. And this is going to lock our prefixes, at which case we can go ahead and scour the item, which will keep our 3 prefixes, get rid of any suffixes, and then we'll be able to multi-mod. Fortunately, the trigger socketed spell is like 3 chaos, and the spell damage minion, the minion attack and cast speed is like 3 to 4 chaos. So the multi-mod is very cheap, but of course the multi-mod itself is 2 exalts. Now, it would be much better if, when using the fossils, we hit some things that we can get rid of through the Lee mechanic, such as say life leeches, life gained for each enemy hit by your attacks as a life modifier, stuff like that. Now, another thing you could do, depending on your situation and what you have on the wand in terms of suffixes, is you could always do remove non-caster modifier, add a new caster modifier. So the thing is that the spell damage here is a caster modifier, and so is the minion damage. The minion damage is not, as you can see. But fortunately, the minion damage is actually going to be fractured, meaning you cannot get rid of it. And the plus level of all spell skill gems alongside the plus level of minion spell skill gems are both caster modifiers. Meaning if I do remove non-caster, add caster, and I have something that I can't get rid of, say like damage over time multiplier, it is guaranteed to hit the damage over time multiplier, and it is guaranteed to give me a new suffix. That new suffix could be any of the caster modifiers that you can see right here. So it could be cast speed, it could be spell crit, it could be that thing. That's about it, actually. Fortunately, if we hit the spell crit, remove a random critical modifier is very cheap, meaning we would save almost 2 exalts compared to locking our prefixes. The only problem is cast speed here. The speed tag is a little bit more on the expensive side, but remove speed is definitely nowhere near 2 exalts, so you would still actually gain some profit there and make it more worthwhile. So that is basically how you make these pretty damn OP wands. They sell for, like I said, around the 25 to 28 exalt margin, exalt price, and they would cost on average about half of that to actually make, given that you do it properly from scratch. So there is definitely some profit to be made there, and they do sell pretty well. On that note, though, I do want to say a huge thank you to my supporters: Gaikona, Kfish, Zachary, Luro, Scott, Dr. Radu, Casicus, Francesco, Amazo, Mr. Coffee, Mario, Skorov, and Jungle Dog, as well as anybody else who wishes to remain anonymous, or anybody else who has supported me in the past or through different platforms. Huge thanks to you guys. Really appreciate it, and hopefully you learned a little something, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.